the hills of Camelot, I will be one with myself again. When I see the hills of Camelot, I will find my heart and my soul again. When I see the hills of Camelot, I will be one with you again. Things that were said a very long time ago, spoken by those who used to live here, spoken by all of you. I wish all of you a very, very good morning. Thank you so much for being here. We usually don't have an actual tradition to start these seminars, these gatherings off, so we're not going to start by tradition today. I just want all of you to know that you are very welcome here. I also want all of you to know that ever since this morning there is a type of nervousness that has crept into my bloodstream. It has to do with the views. Every time I look out of the hotel room window, I see these seas. And instead of seeing the sea as it is today, I see the ocean as it used to be. I see ships sailing by. I see people coming and going. It's a very strange sight to be in two spaces at the same time. Maybe you have the same feeling, because I believe that everybody here already arrived yesterday. Is that right? Yes. Yeah. So how has it been for you arriving here in Camelot?
Wonderful.
Yeah. Well, we'll be spending a lot of the coming 3 days indoor here, presenting the seminar. But also, I really want you to know that we are planning to take you outside a lot, to walk on the hills. Maybe you have already seen if my where is my orientation? Can anybody find it? Maybe you have already seen that the castle is over there, or at least what used to be the ruins, or is it over there? I can't get my bearings. Where is it?
There.
Ah, there it is. Yeah. There you can see the ruins of the castle. That's one of the spaces that we're going to be visiting in the coming days. We're also going to go some other places. If you just go down here, you maybe have already done so yesterday, you will see the beach where you will have Merlin's Cave. Those who were here with us in August, I believe it was? June. Already June. It seems like years ago. Yeah. Those who were here with us in June have visited the Merlin's Cave then, and I will remember very vividly how we took a group of people into the cave, and as we went in, everybody was actually seeing a different thing. Do you remember that? Mm-hmm. And then we came out again, and we took another group of people in, or the group went in again, and all of a sudden the sandy part of the floor, that is the floor to Merlin's Cave, had changed. It had become rock. It was a completely different dimension that we were in.
The big rock in the middle was gone?
Yeah, there was this big rock in the middle of Merlin's Cave. All of a sudden that was gone. So I know that strange things are happening here. You will also feel this probably as the days will continue. So be prepared. Be prepared for everything that you might go through.
If you want to run away, do it now.
Yeah. Yes. Actually, different from all the seminars that we have done so far, you will notice in the coming days that we will not do many exercises with you. This is not going to be a seminar of practicing exercises and doing all of these things. This is going to be a seminar of finding all parts again within yourself and making sure that these parts are reintegrated once again. But I'm sure that it's going to be a wonderful experience. So once again, from myself, from Ambika here, be welcome, feel welcome. You are home with family, you are home with yourself, and I hope you will find that part of your home that are your old lives as you walk these cliffs in the coming days. Also, I want you to know that there is a group of people here, the Imzaia Fellowship, that will be there for you if you need them. I am no longer going to introduce them to you because you already know them. most of you here. I think there's no one, like a couple of people here that we are seeing now for the first time. But for most of you, you know who these people are. You know that they are very strongly connected to you. If you need anything, just ask them. They will be there. Okay? But before we get going with anything else, I'm going to do a little meditation with you. It's going to be a meditation focusing on sound, on light, and on color. Because we have been, 6 people of the fellowship have been traveling through California in the last few days. Actually, we arrived here only like 10:30 yesterday evening, and because I was already thinking that we might not arrive before before the seminar started, but we got here in time. It's been a long journey. I believe we've traveled for about 30 hours to get here again. Long flights, long journey by the car, but we got here. Even if we were interrupted by a police officer before we almost got here, we did get here in the end. We've been traveling through California, going to San Francisco, to Los Angeles, but our ultimate goal for our trip was basically the Mount Shasta. Mount Shasta holds a very special energy as well. It is very closely connected to the space that we are in right now, and the space that we're going to take you to if you are going to do the full 6 days, at least, when we go to Glastonbury. Because those of you who have been following the manifest, you will probably know about Shasaya, Toraya, and Kamalaya, 3 what used to be called dragon energies. We now know better. We know that these energies are not necessarily dragon energies the way you will imagine a dragon, but these are energies of tachyonic photonic service, as they would say. Tachyonic because they basically breach the dimensions, and their energy is coming from the all that is, and photonic because they are made up of light. Here, the space that we are in right now, you will feel the energy of Kamalaya. Kamalaya is a beautiful portal energy that will give you the opportunity to transport to all of those spaces within yourself. So if you feel this come up in the coming hours or in the coming days, just let yourself go. Allow the energy of time and space to transport you into your own time and space, because that is why we are here. We are not here, come together all of us, we are not here to take you on a journey. You are here to create your own journey, and that is what we will do in the coming days. So, we are in the presence of Camelot, a portal energy. We are in the presence of Shasaya, that is what we just actually got back from in the Mount Shasta. Beautiful experience, especially this time of year. Yeah, you weren't there. I'm looking at you, yeah, I know. The entire mount is now covered in snow. It's beautiful to see that. Actually, we didn't even make it all the way up because of the bad weather conditions and the bad roads and everything. And then you will also feel the energy of Toraya. Toraya is actually the most closely connected portal energy linked to this planet Earth, and in the coming days we're going to be talking a lot about this. But as I was saying, we went to California, also to Shasta, to meet up with Lee Carroll. Are you aware of Lee Carroll and the work that he is doing? Yeah, the channel for Cryon. Yeah. As we were in San Francisco, we went to 2 Cryon gatherings. One was in Laguna Hills, which is Southern California. Beautiful, beautiful area, but also very weird to be there because the sun is shining, there's palm trees, and then you hear everything all about Christmas. You know, there's like these vans driving around with reindeer on top of them, with lights and everything, ho, 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 and that sort of thing, so that's pretty weird. But then after that we went to San Rafael, which is already a little bit higher up. And there in San Rafael we probably had one of the most intimate and powerful Cryon experiences ever. I've been listening to the Cryon material for years already. And during that channel, Cryon actually said goodbye. You might remember in June, was it right? that we were here with another group of you, of Imzaia, and we went to Mount Michael. I think that was the one to last day of the seminar or something. And in Mount Michael, the energy of Michael itself said goodbye to the earth. Now, this is an angelic energy. Why is it angelic? Because basically it is one of the first light beings to be here on this planet Earth as the planet was taking shape. There's no difference between an angelic energy and your own energy. The only difference is that these angelic presences have been here for a very, very long time. But then again, so have you, all of you. As Michael said goodbye, we all felt the rainbow come in. If you will remember, we were on the beach and we were talking about Michael saying goodbye, and all of a sudden we saw this huge, huge rainbow coming down. Do you remember that? Huge rainbow come down, touched the earth, was there for about 2 minutes and then started going up again. And as we were driving back to Glastonbury, it must have been, we kept on seeing one rainbow after the other, after the other, after the other. It was so beautiful, such a beautiful experience. Now, Cryon is a magnetic energy, also an angelic energy. And as Michael said goodbye all these months ago, so did Cryon now, during that live channel. It was very, very moving for all of us who were there to see Cryon say goodbye. Basically, why? Very simple, because the energy of Earth is shifting so drastically, and these entities as well must go, so that they can shift their energy and come back here. So, if you feel anything go away from you in the coming days, if you might feel your guides, or whatever you call them, your guiding energies that are always around you, if you feel those go away, don't be afraid. It's a very natural process to be alone, sovereign, standing in your own power for a couple of days, maybe even a couple of weeks, depending on the amount of time that is necessary for these energies to shift into the free energy world. If that happens, just let it happen. I know that for Lee Carroll it was quite strange to feel Cryon go away. You might even go to their website, it's cryon.com, it's that simple. And if you go to their store, they have a store online, but in the store you can also find a lot of free stuff. There you can listen to the last 2 channelings that we have now been through, and you can hear Cryon say goodbye, basically. It's a very moving and powerful message right there for you. When we were in California, there might be those of you who are wondering, when are the last parts of the Cosmic Manifest going to be added to the website? Well, we are working on those. We have actually got all of them now. We still need to find some time, however, to put them online, but we will do that here in the hotel in the coming days, so you can find them there. As we were in California, we brought in 2 Ekarayas, or 2 channelings, one by Ekara himself, who spoke for one last time, or 2 almost last time, almost for the last time, about the grand illusions that we have been working with. Where at the beginning of the Mastering the Grand Illusion series, we got a lot of spirit technical information, as I like to call it, about Akhenaic energy and about the I am, geometry, and about all of those things in the last seminars in Belgium, if I remember correctly. After that, there came a second part to that series, which was, how shall I say, more poetic in nature. Now that very poetic channeling was a very beautiful and moving channeling, or Ekaraya, came in when we were in California. Actually, you haven't had a chance to listen to it. Maybe we will do some evening activities where we will give you the chance to come here and just listen to that channeling in group, because it was a very beautiful channel, or Ekaraya. It was a poetic interpretation of the power of DNA. And what DNA actually is and how it works. I'm going to let you feel that energy. I'm not, because we were just talking about it in the room, I was thinking, shall we just put on that channeling as everybody is here? But that's not the reason why you came to Camelot, of course, not to sit together and start the day listening to a channeling that was already recorded. So I'm going to take you through a meditation that is going to give you the energy of that Ekara that we did. It's going to be about sound, James. It's going to be about light, and it's going to be about color. So that is also what Ekara reminded us all of, that we basically exist in a field of light, a field of sound, and a field of color. And that these are the building blocks of our own DNA. It was about the DNA singing towards one another. It's a very beautiful Ekara. And we're going to let you listen to that tonight. So if you want to be here, just come after work, I almost said. Just come here after dinner, and we will listen to that. Also, as you might have seen in the invitation to this seminar, there is another energy called Solaris. Solaris, who accompanies the Lemuria energy. I'm using a lot of names here, but if there's anything that you don't understand, just raise your hand or talk to one of the fellowship that is here. You will be able to get more information there. But Solaris, we also received a first channeling by Solaris, and that one, well, that's one that's pretty powerful. The energy of Solaris when it came in. You know, I'm used to sitting down, to just close my eyes for a minute, and then after a minute or two, the Ekara starts, the eyes open again, and you can just walk around again as this was happening. Wasn't so for Solaris. Solaris kept me in the chair all the time with my eyes closed, probably because I believe that those who were there, ones of the fellowship said that if the eyes would have opened, probably beams of light would have come out or something, because it's so effing intense. It's really a very intense channel there. We're also going to give you the chance to listen to that, because Solaris basically announced that which was going to happen at the beginning of next year. You know, we've been dealing with the cosmic or universal manifest for all these months now. Actually 12 months, because the first channeling came in near Christmas, I believe, of last year. So a year has been completed. And Solaris announced the beginning of next year, which is no longer going to be called the Cosmic Manifest. Solaris talked about the Divinity Manifest. Divinity, because this manifest has nothing to do with mastery anymore. Divinity, because this manifest has nothing to do with growing up anymore. Actually, what Solaris said is that they now expect us to be fully grown up and to be ready for that which is to come, which is to find within ourselves again our own divinity. So be ready for a very powerful 2008. You're going to be the first to be listening to these channelings, as we will also bring Solaris in. That's probably going to happen tomorrow, but I don't dare to say these things because then it just switch everything around anyway. But I hope that you'll get a chance to listen to that first channel that we did in California as Solaris was coming in. Again, that was a very powerful message. It was about the shift from mastery into divinity, the shift from potential to choice. And this is basically the most important part of that message. I'm going to tell you this just quickly. You know, we've been learning how to work with all of these potentials, right? And by now you probably know that we have a field of gravity, which is our body, surrounded by a field of geometry, which is vibration and frequency, and surrounded again by a field of magnetics, which is the power of love. But also in the field of magnetics are all of these potentials, right? And we've been listening to channels from all over the world about potentials, how you have thousands and thousands and thousands, maybe even an infinite number of potentials twirling all around you. And we've gotten used to working with these potentials, with just looking at them and making sure that they align so we can walk our path. Now, one of the things that Solaris said, and I'm sure that we're going to be continuing to talk about that in the coming days, is that these potentials are basically going away, as the mental energy, which is linear, that we have known all this time, is also going to go away. So what then is the difference between mastery and divinity. It's very simple. You could say that mastery is about finding the power behind your potentials. But divinity is basically a process of simplification. What Solaris said is that divinity is no longer about all of these millions and millions of potentials. It's about something very, very simple. It's about choice. It's about choosing. So we are shifting from a field of potentials into a field of choice. And that is basically why you are here. To learn again how to make undefined choices. Not defined choices, but undefined choices. To go back to that simplicity that you had before you came into the body. To find all of these things. And that is what you will see as 2008 is going to begin very soon now. And this is also why we chose this space to close off the Cosmic Manifest. We're going to be talking about that as well soon. But this is one of those magical spaces where timelines connected. We have the timeline of Earth, and we have the timeline of Lemuria, for instance. We have the timeline of Avalon, and all of these other very special universes, I should call them. This space that we are in now, not this room, but the space, the grounds that we are in now, together with Glastonbury, and actually the whole of England, is one of those spaces where timelines collided, where they became one. The timeline of Earth and the timeline of Avalon. In Avalon, or in the connection with Avalon, we were given the chance to let go of our dramas. But actually what happened is that we intensified our dramas. I know that most of you will probably have seen The Mists of Avalon, you will have seen those books, and although they are mostly based on story and not on real fact, you will remember that there is so much drama that went with these lives. The King Arthur life, the Guinevere life, the Lancelot life, everybody knows about these people, and everybody knows about the intense dramas that used to play out. So, as Avalon gave us that first option to go back to a much more simple state, and humanity actually chose to be not ready for that yet, an entirely new process of many years took place, we are now again at that point where timelines will blend together, will become one. And we have the chance to really let go of our dramas. But letting go of our dramas is also letting go of our mind. This is a Meaning of Life seminar. I know that many of you who are here now went through those seminars and they were very intense. I left, as I said, for California soon after those seminars, but I know of all the phone calls that Ambika has gotten from everybody who went through these Meaning of Life seminars. And I also know that many of you have been working with the power of letting go, the power of letting go of the mind, and stepping into the field of consciousness. Although these seminars or these coming days are not going to be about letting go of the mind again, we are going to start, probably already after the first meditation that we're going to be doing soon, with the final chapter of the Mastering the Grand Illusion series. And it's going to be about the mind. But of course, Avalon was also very much mind-oriented still. So I'm very curious to see what is going to come out of all of that. And for the rest, I just want you to enjoy yourselves. We are in a beautiful, beautiful location. Actually, it turned out a little bit differently than we thought, because we thought that this room could actually be closed off. That can't. So you might have other people walk in at some point. Just say hi to them. Yeah. Or I'm going to ask Magdalene over there to stand as a bodyguard so that nobody else.
All the people will come in to see you.
Oh yeah, that's right. You will just draw the people here. Yeah. But just have some fun. Just enjoy yourself in the coming days, and just so you know, if you were to decide in the end of these 3 days that you still want to go with us to Glastonbury and to do the tour thing, that is also still an option, of course. But have some fun and share a lot of history with each other, because I know that everybody who is here has a lot of history to share, and some of it has been played out right here where we are now. So as I said, it's not going to be about all of these exercises that we normally do, but the exercise for you as you go through these 3 days is to find yourself again, deeper than ever. Find these pieces that you used to experience here and reintegrate them. And this, I can't give you exercises for. It's a very personal process. It's also a process that you're going to be doing as you will connect with one another, as you will look into each other's eyes, and you will see what is there. So enjoy. You want to say a few
You
words?
said everything.
I always.
Yes, you always do that. I just wanted to add, feel like a queen, feel like a king, and that's what you are.
Can I also feel like a queen? Can I feel like a queen too?
If you want.
Yes, of course.
Okay, yes.
That's fine.
Let's start. Okay. Does anybody have a question before we get going? No? Okay, let's just get going then. James? Oh, I just want to introduce those of you who haven't met him yet, James Lumley, who is going to be channeling our music in the coming days. It's wonderful to be working together, as I can bring in the words, he's bringing in the sounds, the music. That's always very lovely. So we're going to do that now. I'm going to ask you, just take a deep breath. Yes, close your eyes. Let's focus on the I am. I am breathing. Just focus on I am breathing. It's that simple. And as you breathe in, and you take in the power of I, take in everything that is all around you, that is surrounding you, that is who you are. But also understand that as you breathe in, you don't need to take anything in. It's already there, you see. You are a constant source of energy. You are that you are that you are. So just be aware of that and send out that light. And as you do the second part of the breathing out, focus on the am. Be aware that you are creating everything around you. So I'm just going to take you through that now for a couple of times. Let's breathe in. I. And get ready to breathe out. And I. And I. And continue breathing. We are here with family, loved ones, people, aspects of you that you have known throughout time and throughout space. Each of us carry a unique set of colors. I'm going to focus on those colors now. I'm not going to show you the colors. I'm going to ask you to let your colors come through, whatever they are. Maybe it's gold, pure white, rose quartz or green. Just let them come in. Keep focusing on the I am breathing. I am breathing. And as you bring your own colors in, whatever they may be, let them flow, connect to all the other colors in the room, all the other hearts in the room. Let them connect to the wood that is all around you. Feel how this wood is glowing, just recognizing you. And let them go into the earth. You feel what happens there when you bring your colors into the earth. There is a welcome. Welcome. Welcome, says the earth. Welcome back. I remember you. You have walked here before. You have taken these colors with you and spread them throughout the earth, everywhere. Now you are here to bring them back. Life is so simple, really. Wherever you go, wherever you step, you are the master. You feel that mastery? Children of the earth, you feel why you came here. You feel why you are born into this planet again and again and again. Every single time, taking with you a piece of heaven and bringing it here. You are here to assist the earth as you have assisted all these other planets in their process of maturity, becoming mature. And as you grow up, so does the planet. So put these colors now into the earth. Just let it happen. Just let it happen. Maybe you are not used to working like this, experiencing this. You are in a safe place. Family surrounds you. And as your colors blend with the ground underneath your feet, I'm going to ask you to invite your guides to come in. Something is happening here. Are you aware of this? Your guides, those that you have seen as these unseen forces, They're sitting all around you. They're not just these things, you know. I want you to know that your guides are the people, aspects of those people that are sitting all around you now. Maybe you want to connect to them, you can. Reach out a hand if you want, or don't. If you want to, just reach out your hand to the person sitting next to you. Keep your eyes closed. Feel what this does to you. Or just put your hand on the shoulder of the person sitting in front of you. What happens? Do you feel that these are the people that have been guiding you as you walk on the ground of Gaia? And with the colors come the lights. For these colors would mean nothing if they aren't powered up by the light that is within you. So bring the light into it now. That golden light. It's not pure white, is it? There's a golden aspect to it. That's the divinity, right there. That's the divinity. And in that gold, reflections of rainbow. All those colors powered up by the golden light. Let it flow through this room and touch all the people. Let it touch the wood. Let it touch the stone in this room. Let it touch the metal, anything. Bring in that light and send it into the earth. Send it into the earth. Before we go on to sound, we're going to do a little exercise in the power of the moment. Going to ask you to focus on the fact that as you send things, color, light into the earth, that you are basically sending it into yourselves. For you are the earth. The earth is your extended body, together with this universe and all the universes around it. It's your body. You are the heart of all things. So you have the power to very, very quickly send light all over this planet. All you have to do is send it deep within. You feel the planet in there, in your center. You feel it. let's start focusing on our hearts and bring in golden light. It's becoming bigger. It's filling up your entire body. And as it does, it's filling up the planet. It's touching the trees. It's touching the rocks and the animals and the oceans. Let that happen. A question comes up. A question from Gaia herself. It's a very simple question. 3 words. Are you ready? I am pregnant, says the planet. Pregnant with a new type of consciousness. I am ready to bring forth this consciousness. But I need permission. Will you be that permission? Will you just give that yes deep within? That affirmation. Send that powerful yes into the planet and let her know that you, as a carrier of new consciousness, are ready for her evolution. And feel what happens then. Feel what happens. You feel the joy being reflected back at you. Thank you. Thank you, says Gaia. Thank you. I offer you nature, the beauty of my trees, of all my life. And I, Gaia, want to remind you that you are my artists. You are the sculptors of the sky. And you have done such a good job. You have created these clouds and all those shades of blue. It's all coming from you. Do you remember being the artist that created all of this? And then, when you finished with the sky, you created the land. You remember that one favorite space that you have on the planet that you like to go to sometimes. You created that. The cliffs nearby here, you created that. You are the artists. The shapes that are around you, you created them. So how can you be caught in them? Allow the shapes to run free. Allow the shapes to be what they want to be. Allow that to happen, just for a minute. And see that. How the earth can be. See what can happen if you just trust Gaia. If you trust her to take care of your heart, of your creation. As the first angelic beings came to this earth, and you were there as well. You were part of that. The earth was given form. Remember? Form. And form was undefined. Anything could happen to it. Was not stuck. Allow that to happen again. Allow forms. Allow the painting, the sculpture that is this planet, that is this reality, to flow. What happens when you see a tree and it responds to your presence? For this, my children, this is the way things are meant to be. You create something, and then you experience that creation, and the creation changes because of your experience. I want to bring you back now, for a minute, to Lemuria, the land of Mu. Just see what happens there when you connect to a tree. What happens there? You see the shapes of the tree changing. Can turn into anything. That is the land that you used to walk in, the land of Mu. And with every footstep, Master, the land was shaped around you. Do you remember talking, communicating, playing, loving the animals? Do you remember a time when animals would not attack you? And as the lion from such a distance away would start running towards you, it wouldn't be to attack you, it would be to hug you, to play with you, to connect to you. And as you connected to that lion, it would show you everything that it had seen. That is the power that still lives inside of you today. So put some light into that. Put some color into that. And now we are going to put some sound into that. Sound is vibration, you see. Everything around you is based on vibration. So I want you to hold that vision now, that vision of Earth, that vision of Earth taking shape as you walk on it. It's a natural state. It's a natural state. We're going to reactivate that type of Earth, alright? And we're going to do it by focusing on the simple sounds of the O, the Ah, the E, and the I. The I that will create the I am all around you. So let's begin. Take a deep breath. See what that does. See what happens there. How the earth shifts and changes under that vibration. That's you doing it. It's you doing it. Now we're going to go into the Ah. stay in this moment. And all the sound that you just created. And all the light and that color. Feel what that is doing to your DNA. It's activating your DNA. It's activating your DNA. Sound, music builds up again. And your DNA starts to sing. What does that feel like? To understand that your DNA is singing. As it sings, isn't just singing in sounds, it sings color as well. Harmony, light. Let your DNA connect now. And bring in the power of the great central sun. What happens to the elements? Earth, wind, water, fire. You see there's a fifth? The fifth one, that's you. That's your DNA. That's your consciousness. You are the fifth element, and the fifth element shall be love. You are the fifth element, and the fifth element shall be joy. You are the fifth element, and the fifth element shall be freedom. And so it is. And so it is. Greetings, my beloved. I am Ekara, sovereign servant of free energy, cosmic being, brother and sister to you I am, mother and father to you I am, as you are to me. This is a sweet space that we are in. Oh, I'm not just talking about the land. I'm talking about the heart space that we are in. It is an honor to me, to all of us, to all my brothers and sisters who are here with me right now, those that you would call Adamas, Kutumi, and all these others, Satya, and all these others, to see you sit here on this sweet place, on this beautiful place, and to see that you have chosen now, that you have chosen to change the face of the earth. Oh, I want you to know that I was with Gaia just now, as you, all of you, were giving her permission to activate that consciousness once again, as you were giving her permission to give birth to that fifth element and forever change the face of all that is. It is true that at a certain point, and that point is now, there won't be just the elements of earth and water and sky and fire. There will be a fifth born into the planet. That is consciousness. It is divinity. Why? It's very simple. The great shift is this, dear Master. The great shift is this. That the human being walking on this planet Earth will no longer be a force of destruction, but that it will be again a force of creation. Just like the earth and the sky and the element of water and the element of fire has been a force of creation, so too can consciousness be a force of creation. And this is what you are manifesting. This is what you are doing as you are bringing in your heart into the planet. You might think you are just a small group of people. You might think that you are unimportant. You are not. You are more powerful than you think. And your creative ability is infinite. And this now is what is happening. So, Lemurian, are you ready to wake up yet? Are you ready to step out of the dream and step into another? Only this time, the dream won't be a prison. Only this time, the dream will be truth. Universal truth. Universal love and joy and freedom. That is the power of the dream that lives within all of you. I just had to get up and stand here in between you. I just wanted to feel what you are feeling. I wanted to be there as you activate the fifth element, probably for the very first time in hundreds of years. Another element come into this world with the power to create reality, no longer having to seal itself off because of danger. And it is true that the human being has endangered this earth. It is true. It is true that the human being has brought this earth, Gaia, to the brink of destruction, yes. But it hasn't happened, has it? It was built in, you know. It was built into the paradigm that the earth might destroy itself because of human consciousness, which wouldn't be ready. But that hasn't occurred. So, Lemuria, here you are, at the beginning of the fifth cycle. Yes, the fifth cycle. Of course, they can't really be numbered. It's not that you step through cycle 1 and then cycle 2 and then cycle 3 and then cycle 4 and then 5. They are all blended together. They are all part of each other. So what are these cycles then? Let me tell you. The first time that the human race, which is angelic in nature, stepped into the planet Earth, it was to create the power of fire. And that is what you carried within you as you walked here, the power of fire. And so it was that the earth was a molten star. And you took your vibration into it. Your fire. And you created the fire of the planet. It took you about 144,000 years. Bless you. Bless all of you. 144,000 years to allow the concept of fire to be here, fully on this star you are sitting on right now, this star that you would call a planet. That was the first cycle, was it not? To be born into this planet, to be a part of it, and to take the notion of fire, which is an element of creation, and to take that into the planet and let it become one of the building blocks. And then the second cycle came. You might think, as you look back into your histories, you might think that you destroyed yourselves at that point, but this isn't true. You had to leave the planet, you see, to let the fire become manifest completely and fully. You left the planet. All of you. All of humanity, which at that point would still be called angelic, would still be called divine. You left the planet. And you came back to start up the second cycle, which would be the bringing in of the element of earth. And so you lowered the vibration of the planet and you created a planet which looks a lot like your moon is looking now. Or like your Mars is looking now. Dry, without any atmosphere, without real life. But it slowed down. It became solid. That is what you did. And this took you another 144,000 years. Oh yes, oh yes. Why 144,000? These numbers have meaning, you see. All numbers have meaning. Numerology is that which you are based upon, and any number that we would speak of right now carries with it a certain tone, sound, carries with it a certain color and light. So a cycle of 144,000 years then would be a 9, would it not? Completion. Beginning with a 1 and ending with the 144,000. New beginnings and a completion. So the second cycle that you went through as you were here on this earth, you brought in the concept of earth itself, which is what you are calling it today, still. This was indeed an important piece of the puzzle to bring in the earth into the earth, which is about grounding. Oh, you all, in your spiritual journeys, you say to one another, it is important that you ground, you have to be grounded. Yes, but being grounded only means being aware of the notion of slowing down, the notion of stillness. That is what you did as you took in to the earth this second cycle, and you brought the element of earth. You slowed down everything. And that is when basically began that which you call linearity. As you took this element of divinity into the planet, Lemuria, as you chose to make this your home, you slowed things down to such an extent that you would create the concept of not only space, which is the element of earth, but also fire, which is the element of time. Maybe you don't understand these things yet completely. How can time be related to fire, to light? You don't need to understand them fully. We have several days together. I will make sure by the time that you leave, you are changed and ready to understand this knowledge. This is Lemurian science, you see. It's not about numbers, for the number is always one. The number is always one. Even when it is a 9, the number is always 1. Any number in Lemurian science will always go back to the 1. The 9 cannot exist when it is separate from the 1. For within the 9 there is the 1, you see. So as you came to the earth, first to create the first cycle, which would be fire, and then to create the second cycle, which would be earth, you slow down everything. And I'm asking you now to experience this again. Not just to listen to the words, but to really have the experience. To really energize this within you again. You have the ability, you know. You can do this, you know. Lemuria, Atlantean, Avalonian. You can do this. And after these 144,000 years would once again be over, again humanity chose to leave. And you don't even know the societies that came and went in these grand cycles of existence. How can I, Ekara, tell you about a civilization that was based, that was here when the earth was not yet solid? How can I tell you of these things? How can I make you aware of them again? Has to happen to your dreams, don't it? So you will dream of these things. I know that many of you have a tendency to fall asleep anyway as I am talking, so you might as well dream about something that is interesting. Right? Should you happen to remain awake during this Ekara, oh, then you will dream at night. And you will dream at night. But I will tell you one thing. If you dream dreams of truth, which are part of your own history, even if you don't remember them, you will wake up fully energized. So that is how you can recognize a dream based on truth instead of fear. You wake up energized. You wake up ready. Ready to create again. And then, as you left the earth again, and these are the magnetic pole shifts that took place. As you left the earth again you prepared yourself to come back in. And you took another attribute, another aspect of the divinity. At that time, you took water, the element of water. And the seas were created. And you lived within the seas. You built societies within the water. Do you remember that, Lemuria? Do you remember being born into the water and living there? Energizing that space and giving that present to Gaia. It's a third cycle. And you did it again for 144,000 years, which to me and to so many others would be the blink of an eye. One moment you're there, and then you're gone, and then you're back again. You might think that when you die, and when you choose to leave the planet, that you go back to this space that you call home, the divine center of all things. It's not true. Let me tell you this. You only do this as a oneness. You must understand these principles now because they will become very important to you in the coming year. As humanity chooses to be on the planet, and as you choose then to step away from the planet as a person, a personality, you don't go back into the great central sun. You just reincarnate again and again and again. If humanity as a whole leaves, you do it in totality, you see. You never do it just one after the other. You do it in totality. And you do it once every 144,000 years. That's the amount of time that you stay on the planet and work with the same paradigm. Work with the same energy. Do you understand this? And that's amazing to see you do that. Then, after you had fully energized the water and you left the planet, you left Gaia to settle down once again, you went back and took another element. You took the element of sky this time, the element of air. And so you came back here, ready for what you thought was going to be a full experience. For now there were these elements of light or fire, and air, and water, and earth. And so you built civilizations again. The first one that you built was Lemuria. And you walked around, very close to the shape, the form that you have today. The human form, although your body at that time was still based on a hologram of light, not on matter, as you have it today. And then, that civilization had to go and make space for another, Atlantis. Now we'll talk about this in a minute. There is an important message waiting for you here about Atlantis. And so, you created another after Atlantis. It is this one that you are sitting in right now. I'm talking about the major ones. I'm not talking about the little ones. There were times when you had small experiments happen on this earth in these 144,000 years. I'm just talking about the three major ones now. Let's call this modern society, Western society. That is what it is. You ended up westernizing the entire planet, did you not? Shaman, Lemurian. And so, at the end of this fourth cycle you have come, you would think that humanity would be ready yet again to leave the planet in what your scripture knows as ascension. It's the moment when humanity decides to leave en masse, to allow the earth to fill up with all the experience, based on the element that you brought in then. Let's just say that it was air this last time around. You know that air is the element of E, and you know that it is in the head chakra, that the E takes place in. This is why you have been in your head so long. Civilization after civilization after civilization, you have been thinking thoughts, because that is what this element of air is all about. However, in Lemuria you still remember that these thoughts had a certain power of creative ability, and that they had the chance to be undefined. This Western civilization that you have now, you have forgotten about this, and you define thought after thought after thought. I'm going to come back to that as well. So, you would think, wouldn't you, that now that this cycle of 144,000 years is once again complete, humanity would leave en masse, ascending back to the great central sun and what lies beyond that. It's not going to happen that way. For a year now, those that you have called the Cosmic 12, and so many others, have spoken about a process of ascension. Ascension. And it is happening right now on this planet Earth. So as a new cycle begins, as you are preparing to bring into the earth a new element of divinity, which is consciousness, you have decided this time to stay. Or should I say, the earth has decided to let you stay. For Gaia knows that there is an opportunity here. Gaia knows that if you can manifest walking around with not just 4 elements within you, but 5, without leaving and coming back, that the process will be sped up. And I'm telling you that this 5th cycle does not need to take 144,000 years. That is essential. You know how long it needs to take? 1 moment, 1 heartbeat, 1 breath. This entire 5th cycle is based on 1 breath. I am breathing. That is why it is becoming so important to breathe. That is why it is becoming so important to just be here now. That is why you are getting back so much information. So much that you have known before. 1 moment to activate, not just mastery, but to activate divinity. And you will have time in the course of 2008 to find that moment. Is that truly what this entire year is going to be about, Ekara? To find a moment? Yes? That's all you need to do. Isn't that easy? To just find within you that 1 moment of ascension where you activate and bring together all of these elements. Number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, and now number 5, consciousness. To just blend these things together and to activate within you the full source of divinity. That is why very soon I will be accompanied by Solaris, which basically is the central sun of central suns. For this is what you are bringing in as your divinity. re-emerges within you once again. You bring in the center of all things, the heart of all things, and now the planet is ready for it. It's ready to carry that magnitude. It's ready to carry that power. And believe me when I say, this is not the first time that you have done this. 11 times before you have done this. This is the 12th. And this is the final one. I cannot tell you what lies behind this. I cannot tell you how things will be when this is done, because they will be free, you see, free. Anything can happen really at that point. But you will walk on this planet in mastery. And the trees will once again sing your name. And they will once again show you your colors, as the leaves will know who you are. As the roots will be filled up with your energy. And that will be the life force flowing through the tree. Won't be necessary to have the cycle of life and death then, will it? If you have this eternal energy, life force flowing through all things. So, beloved Lemuria, this then would be a completion taking place. But before you are ready to do that, I must bring you now a message about the mind. Oh God, there he is again. Yes. Hello. A message about the mind, but in a different way than we have done before. Before you can step into this fully, you must understand something about the mind. And it's very simple. This is it. Are you ready? It's not going to go away. And this is what you need to learn. How can you, who have worked with the power of consciousness coming into you, now understand this, that the mind will always be present? Well, it is in the sentence itself. The mind will always be present. The consciousness, however, will always be now. So it is then the mind that is creating the present in the power of the now, which is consciousness. And this is what the Lemuria knew. That the mind is a, let's call it a translation device. So what I must give you now is a message that shall be called the free energy mind. It's going to be a long one. So if you want to pee, you better do it now. The free energy mind. You have taught yourselves, and we have helped you in these teachings, that you need to redefine the way you look at the mind. But what has happened to the Imzaia, what has happened to many others on the planet, they have started to hate the mind, to see it as this negative thing. And that was necessary. It was necessary for all of you to see the mind as this negative thing, to get away from its grip. But the mind, in essence, in all neutrality, isn't that negative. You know this. It is basically, as I said before, a translation or a translator for consciousness to come in. So how now must you start looking at this concept? You see, and this happens a lot on your planet. If somebody will hate you, you will hate them right back if you are in a state of mind. If there is a type of racism on the planet, you will create hatred back towards those who would be racist. Now, you could say that the mind is racist. It didn't want to coexist with consciousness. And that had to do with Atlantis. And again, I ask you to wait and be patient. I'm going to take you back to what happened there in just a moment. So if the mind separated itself from consciousness now, and if it did indeed create this separation, and those that would have to get out of the mind would have to do the exact opposite, would they not? They would have to separate themselves from the mind again. And this is what you have done in the course of 2007, as you stepped into your mastery. You have separated yourselves again from the mind, and you have begun to see the mind as this thing, this negative thing, ugly, clingy, needy. And that was necessary. Hee hee. And now, I'm here to tell you that there is a way to reintegrate all of it. That is what your 3 days are going to be about. Reintegrating all of it. I'll give you comfort now that you know what the 3 days are going to be about. How do you do this then? How do you finally manage to blend all of it back together? Well, let's talk about the mind. And let's talk about how the mind came to be the way it is today. I'm going to have to take you back to the days of Atlantis. I'm not going to give you dates. Dates are not important in this case. I could say that Lemuria was founded over 50,000 years ago. Oh, wonderful news. What does it mean? It means nothing. It's in the past. That it was there, that is what is important. And near the end of Lemuria, talking now about the last 10,000 years of Lemuria, another continent came into existence, or let's say another way of life came to this planet. It was a way where things were no longer seen as coming from within you, but things were seen as coming from without, the outside of you coming back into you. This thought created Atlantis. That it would be possible that things weren't just coming from the inside out, but that things could also be coming from the outside in. It's a totally different, reversed way of looking at reality, is it not? That thought created Atlantis. And so, a race of beings stood up that in the end, after a couple of thousand years, would forget that they are the source and the heart of all things. They would forget it completely. There would be a little memory left, however, but it would be buried so deep in a little seed that you are now calling the Akene. What you have done in 2007 is to give this seed water again. The water of consciousness. so that it again can start to grow. You understand this? This society that you are in today, let's call it Western society again, is a direct result of Atlantis. It might have destroyed itself 3 times, Atlantis did. And then you could say this society that you are in now is a 4th manifestation of Atlantis. Only you are no longer calling it that. However, those in power that would rather know that you don't know that they are in power for real, they still remember and they still read the Atlantean scripture. There are those that you would call the Illuminati. They still know about the Atlantean scripture and they still follow it to the letter today, to make you believe that everything is coming from the outside of you. That's Atlantis. So right near the end of Atlantis, or I should say the end of Lemuria, I'm sorry, this continent came to be, Atlantis. And with it came the notion of mind. The mind is born, at least the way you know it today, when you fully believe that things are coming from the outside of you and they need to come within. Mind and the concept of need are basically the same concept. Mind is always looking for the next thing, you see, to fill itself up. It's always looking for the next part to complete itself. That's an Atlantean concept right there. But actually, this doesn't have to be negative. It doesn't have to be that it is a bad thing to look for another aspect of creation. What happened then? In Atlantis, after many thousands of years, when Lemuria was already long gone, a new concept was born, ascension. For the knowledge was coming back, the knowledge that I have just given you about the 5 cycles, about the elements and how they were born into the earth, that knowledge is what in the end would bring down Atlantis. When that knowledge came back into the earth, the Atlantean had one great desire: to go back to the great central sun. At first, they believed they were doing good, you see. It was a good motivation to go back to the center of divinity. And you would say that this is indeed a good motivation. What they forgot was that the center of divinity was within, not on the outside. So a small group, actually, about, let's say, 1/5 of the Atlantean civilization, started focusing on going back to the center of divinity and seeing that center on the outside of them rather than the inside. And they began a spiritual journey. A spiritual journey that would, in the end, take them away from all that was around them. And as they learned more and more things about the nature of the universe and about the way things really are, and the things that they learned were based on truth, they started separating themselves further and further and further from the rest of Atlantis. And they started seeing the rest of Atlantis, the other Atlanteans, as a lesser evolved race. And they turned it into a slave race. So there you have it, 1/5 of a civilization seeing themselves better than all the rest of the planet. Is this not what you have done, white man? Is this not the same way? Seeing yourselves as better than the Indian, better than the African. It's the same process all over again, and it could have gone in the same direction, only it didn't this time. This time, the insights came quicker. Gaia helped you there to bring the insights. And the memory of the planet still knows what happened back then in Atlantis, so that it wouldn't happen again. But the process is similar. Racism. The spiritually evolved Atlantean was kind of biased, racist towards the other ones, who didn't have a full set of activated DNA, who didn't fully comprehend who they were, who couldn't just scan a person with a thought, who couldn't just materialize things in front of them if they had the need to do so. So they saw themselves as better. At a certain point, this group of about 1/5 of the entire continent of Atlantis found the way to ascend. The way out, they used to call it. And so, instead of sharing that way with all the others, they chose to keep it for themselves and to do it. And so it happened that a group of about 2 billion beings, that was 1/5 of Atlantis back then, 2 billion beings chose to leave the planet and let the other ones stay, leave them behind. And they did. The ascension happened, and as such, a rupture was born. A rupture in human consciousness. For consciousness, which is one, could not understand this principle, could not understand that the one would suddenly become two, that there would be one who would be fully immersed in the great central sun, and then another aspect of itself, a two, that would be still here on the planet. You know now how these cycles go, and you know that humanity ascends en masse, fully and completely, or it doesn't ascend at all. That's the way it works. And those who have gone before you, my beloved Lemurians, those like myself, or like Adamus, and others, even when the ascension process happens, we chose to stay here and to make it our own sovereign service to you, to give you all the information that is necessary to do it yourselves. The Atlantean didn't do that. So the rupture came. And this is how the mind was born. Now what is the energy of mind based on then? I'm going to tell you something that you don't like. It is based on these 2 billion beings, parts of God also. The energy of mind is nothing more or nothing less than the joint force of 2 billion ascended beings. Are you still following? Do you understand what this means? This means that now you know where the thoughts are coming from. I have told you that the thoughts that the mind creates aren't coming from you. I've told you that these things come inside of you and create the patterning that you know as conditional life. They are coming from these 2 billion Atlanteans that ascended back then and ruptured themselves away from the rest. You are the ones sitting here now that stayed behind. So please, I am asking you to let go of your guilt about Atlantis. You are not the ones that created the rupture. You were part of the slave race back then. Do you understand this? All of those that stayed behind were part of that slave race. And from that race, the Western civilization grew, the Western human. When this ascension of the 1/5 of the Atlantean race happened, great fires, great tsunamis, great earthquakes, etc. came to the planet and basically destroyed Atlantis. The survivors, which are you, created society anew. And at first, a telepathic link was still there, you see, between the ascended ones and those that stayed behind, that were left behind, I should say. But in time, it was forgotten that this is basically a type of communication, that thoughts are telepathic communication between those Atlanteans that went and those that stayed. So your thoughts are literally coming from a collection of 2 billion beings who got stuck in the translation device, so to speak. For you see, it is impossible to go away. It is impossible to create full separation. That cannot be done. How could it? There is only one. So the illusion of separation can be created, yes. And that is what happened. You are being fed thoughts by those who went away then. So what then is the free energy mind? It's very simple. It's about one word. And I'll tell you the word, Lemuria. It's about forgiveness. The way to heal the mind is forgiveness. And I have incarnated on this planet before, calling myself Jeshua ben Joseph, talking about forgiveness. I have been here as Kuan Yin, talking about compassion and forgiveness. I have been here as Krishna, talking about forgiveness. And I have been here as Arthur, talking about reblending the mind and the heart, forgiveness. And so many others have been here, telling you that the only way out of this is forgiveness. It begins with forgiving the other, but in the end, it will go into forgiving the mind for what it has created. You understand this? If you can find this type of forgiveness, then you have found the moment that will blend all of the elements together and that will lead you into divinity. Ascension is about bringing it all back together, you see. You need to forgive what was done to you. You need to forgive the mind, for it is a reflection of those that try to tear themselves away from you. And you might be hurt still that this was done to you. It has shown up time and time and time again in that which you call Western civilization. You have seen a section of the people that made up your civilization either trying to separate itself, or you have seen them destroyed, like the Jew was destroyed by the Hitler, or like the African was nearly destroyed, or like the Indian was almost fully destroyed. This is a pattern that keeps happening again and again and again on this planet, and I'm telling you it will happen again unless you heal it. The way to heal it is forgiveness. So then, you need the last step. To find your mastery, I have given it to you. It's that simple. What will happen if you do indeed end up forgiving what was done to you so long ago? The mind will be still again. A stillness will be born again. The mind will become this tool to create from the consciousness of now the present moment again. And there will be no more past, and there will be no more future. Only the present moment, infinitely present, infinitely available, infinite power. If this is done, if this forgiveness is manifested from your soul, from your hearts, you will see that this means bringing the fifth element into Gaia. This is what she is waiting for. For you see, consciousness never holds a grudge. Hit me, and I will show you my other cheek. For I know no pain. I will have no grudge because of the fact that you might have hit me. For how can I suffer pain if my cheek and the hand that might hit me are not separate? It's like saying I'm using my left eye to hit my right eye. How am I going to do that? It's impossible. They are part of the same one. You see? So basically, this entire cosmic manifest, and there are still a couple of messages to come before we end it, a couple of days, is all boiling down to forgiveness. What an interesting concept. In order to forgive the mind, which will make it free energy again, which will undefine it, you first have to find all the aspects in you that you are still holding a grudge towards. You don't particularly like yourselves in your space that you call the personality or the identity. You're saying that you are too fat or too thin, too smart, too stupid, too whatever. Always something going on with the personality, something that is not working correctly, and either it be a disease, or it be your level of intelligence, or it be that your body might seem ugly to you, or your deeds from the past might have a problem there. Whatever it is, everybody who is still on this planet today and is in form today holds a grudge towards him or herself somewhere. Now you might think that this isn't true for you. think again. You will find it. Just stand in front of the mirror for 5 minutes. You will find what you don't like about yourself. You need to forgive that. And when you have found that forgiveness for yourself, then you need to start forgiving your brothers and your sisters. Begin with those that have pained you, that have hurt you, that have brought you down. How do you forgive them? By bringing them up. It's that simple. If somebody has brought you down, or tries to bring you down, all you have to do to make it go away is bring them up. Instead of judging them. Instead of separating yourselves from them. Bring them up. Give them love. Love them. Love your neighbor like yourself. I like to quote me. It's that simple. Love the one that would hurt you like yourself. But in order to do that, you first have to love yourself. So first you have to forgive yourself. Then you forgive the other. And then you forgive the past. That's the way to find that piece of Atlantis back within yourself. First you forgive you. Then you forgive what is around you. And then you forgive what was done to you as a whole. Now you might think that it will require all of humanity to do this. Think again. It just requires 144. In 12 different dimensions, which then creates the 144,000. I know it seems illogical, these numbers, but they are not. Not if you are thinking in infinity. You will see the result that this has. And as you know, there are way more than 144,000 doing this on the planet right now. As this message is being presented to you, and it will flow to all of these others that will be listening or reading it at a later time, it is also being presented by others on this planet and towards others. Not just by me. Right now, Adamus is in Peru somewhere giving the exact same message. Right now, Kutumi is speaking through a guru somewhere in India who doesn't even know the concept of channeling. And he's saying the exact same thing. Right now, the president of your free world, Bush, is looking at a cat. And the cat is channeling. Meow. But in that meow, there's a lot of love. And I'll tell you this, dear human, dear Lemurian. He doesn't understand what is happening to him right now, but he feels the power of forgiveness from a cat. Do you know what this will do to him? I am going to tell you this. All meetings, the rest of the day, for Mr. Bush are going to be cancelled. Because he's going to cry about a cat. And I'm not laughing. I'm loving. I'm loving the fact that a cat would have this effect on a person. And on so many other places in this world, So many other things are happening right now. Channelings, people finding what I'm saying right now within themselves all of a sudden. And you know who gave permission for it? Those that sit in the chair here. Those that took the time to give the earth permission for a next step in her evolutionary process. They're sitting here in front of me. They're listening to me. They're reading these words. And they're sitting in other places on this earth. You know how many they are? 1,444,144. That is the exact number of people on this planet right now who are experiencing this. And in that, there is beauty. In that, there is simplicity. What will happen now with the mind as it is becoming ready to be still again? You know what stillness is, don't you? It is going beyond vibration. Now I have told you, and others have told you before me, that the mind is limited in such a way that it only works with 12 frequencies instead of 144, and that each one of these frequencies exists within one vibration of you. You carry 12 vibrations. What is happening is that as you begin to forgive the mind, you allow it again to be part of your full being. So you're going to bring the mind into a set of 144 frequencies instead of 12. And that, my dear Lemurian, is the only difference between mental capacity and consciousness. Consciousness exists on 144 strands of DNA or 144 frequencies, no matter what you want to call it. The mind is a compressed version of this, being allowed to exist only within 12 instead of 144. And then within that 12 there is even a separation, as you know that your DNA strands are only 2 biologically speaking. So this is where the entire cosmic manifest and so many other types of information on the planet today are leading you now. This one simple moment of forgiveness. All the knowledge, everything that you thought you had to memorize, think again. You don't have to memorize anything. All we did as we were bringing in all this cosmic information was to lead you to a place where you would be ready to forgive. Isn't that what love does? Isn't that what animals are doing on this planet? Isn't that what you are doing on this planet? That is why you have experienced this month of December now as a moment of integration. A month of integration. It's still going on. And I'm telling you, it will probably still go on for a week or two. And December is going to be over. And you're going to step into the final portal of ascension, which is going to be January, beginning on the 1st, bless you again, and ending on the 28th. As that happens, you will find your stillness. I have told you that you would have a moment where all of your guides, all of them, will appear to be gone from you. It's going to happen in January. All of them will be gone in just a moment. All of it. That which you have called Ascended Master, that which you have called Guide, it will appear to be gone completely. Wiped away. And you will feel a moment of aloneness. As I have told you in my previous message, which some of you still have to hear, most of you still have to hear, that moment that we are going to withdraw ourselves from you, that moment is what will allow you to look at yourselves fully in the I Am presence for the very first time. It will appear as just a blink of an eye moment. To us it will feel like an eternity. To you it might feel like looking a cat in the eye and feeling forgiveness. Of course, it is not the cat that is forgiving the president. It is the cat that is allowing the president to see the I Am reflected back towards him. That moment comes first for him because we want to bless him and we want to love him and honor him. It's the same higher self that has played other roles in your world that you would know by names such as Hitler and so many others. It is the same higher self of that angelic being that you would name Lucifer. It is the higher self of an angelic being that we indeed bless, that we indeed love. For how would it be possible to create forgiveness if the events that took place on this earth haven't? You might look at the Second World War and you might think that this World War was a negative event. You might think that the 9/11 event was a negative event. It wasn't. It wasn't. It allowed you to become discontent with the way things were going. And it allowed you to grow. To stop looking at the materialistic things around you and to start looking deep within. You were here, some of you were here on this planet when the Second World War took place. And afterwards you said, never again. We will prevent this type of event from happening again. And then 9/11 came. And then you said, never again. What these things did, confront you with yourselves. Is this the world I want to live in? You asked yourselves. And the answer, dear Lemurian, that came back was, no way. No way. I don't want to live like this. I can do better. And then you started to discover again the power of creation. It began very simple with films about creating your day. Hooray. And it turned into something bigger. As you are becoming aware that you are creating the moment. This moment is being created by me sitting here, but also by you listening. We are creating it together. Understand this? So, now you know what to do with the mind and how to bring it into free energy. Now you know that you are at the edge of a new cycle of existence. inception on this planet Earth. And it will last for a moment of infinity. Now you know what this entire thing that you call the planets, that you call the universe, that you call the cosmos, has been about. Bringing the 5 attributes of divinity into what you call the field of experience. To experience them fully, so that God might know God. So that God, which is you, could separate itself in all of its little attributes. It is what you would do if you were to choose to separate all your likes and all your dislikes, everything that you are and that you are not, every thought that you've ever had, every moment that you've ever had, to separate them into little pieces of you, little versions of yourself. To begin an experiment. What would happen if all of these pieces interacted with each other? Imagine, as Kutumi has told you not so long time ago actually, that you have in your mind, in your head, all these little prisons. That is you trapped inside of a moment where you defined yourself every single time. Remember? Remember how the color purple was used by Adamus to allow you to melt the prison walls away. This is what is happening en masse. The prison walls that are separating you from each other are melting away. It's that simple. So God is blending with God again. And that is love. That happens when you love. That is the emotion, or should I say the feeling of love happening to you, happening with you. And you felt this, even conditional love. Conditional love you have felt for one person or the other. The only difference between conditional love and universal love is that you think that you are feeling love for a person, a being, an object, a situation, while it is happening for everything at once. We have told you about akeneic energy, and we have told you about giving somebody a hug. That person might die later on, and you might feel a loss because you think you will never experience the feeling of love that you felt in their hug. Remember? Then I told you, akeneic energy, a moment of divinity flows through the entire timeline, back and forth. So that love is always available. What conditional love does is make you believe you are feeling it for something or someone separate from you, while in fact you are feeling it for yourself. While in fact you are feeling it for all things around you. The mind has made you believe in its limitedness of 12 frequencies that you are feeling it for an aspect of reality. You are feeling it for the entirety of reality, however. Blessed is the human who loves all things, beginning with him or herself. And I spoke that sentence in love for that being that you call Cryon. That is the one that greets you when you go back into the waiting room of life. And that is the one who sends you on your way when you step back into life. And I wanted to use this sentence because I know that he, she now is in a space that feels much like separation. As I told you in my last message, we too, that you would call the Ascended Masters, have taken on a type of personality in the last few years, especially as we communicated with you. You needed these traits on us. You needed to be able to love Kutumi just a little bit better than Adonis. Or the other way around, I'm being told. You needed to do this so that you could start to really feel neutrality. Now you must begin to understand that these traits that were put upon us, or me or anyone else, are just traits, attributes, created by the mind as you try to interpret and experience that which from our point of neutrality we were trying to communicate with you. Listen to the other messages right there. I'm not going to try and explain myself completely again. I'm going to say this one last thing, however. Universal love. How to get to it? How to get to that forgiveness that you can find in the center of that universal love? It's very simple and it has to do with neutrality. Once you realize that neutrality is not about being zero, but that you realize that neutrality is about three things. It's about light, it's about color, and it's about sound. You believe in your body because you think that your body is made up of a certain ray of light. You believe in your body because you think your body is made up of a certain color or a certain sound, while at the same time, actually, it is about the full spectrum. Neutrality is allowing the full spectrum of sound, color, and light to be emitted again from your body. And that is what you did when you were just a little child, when you were just born. And that is why people melt away when they see a baby on their arms or in somebody else's arms. It is simply because they are still emitting the full spectrum of light and sound and color. And they're reminding you that you are that also. They're reminding you that you are complete totality also. So find that within yourselves, Lemurian. Find that totality, and you will find universal love. And with that, you will find forgiveness. And with that, the mind will be still again. A tool to create your reality again. Nothing more. Nothing less. Also. That is where you are headed. And together with some others, as I have told you, with Kutumi, and with Adamus, and with Lemuria, and with Satya, and myself, we will head that which you call the Divinity Manifest, which is basically a creation of that energy being that you know as Solaris. I have told you that you might prepare for a 3-day event of much listening. For all of these, in the coming days, are going to speak. And we will begin the Divinity Manifest before you go home. It is the way of the warriors of light. And that is who you are. It is my deep, deep honor, and that of all the others, that we may be the ones who went first into this process of ascension, and that we may be the ones to remind you of who you are, and that we may be the ones to remind you how to go there yet again. It is our great, great honor. We are your sovereign servants, and we will always continue to be so. You are dearly loved. I'm going to finish this message not because I want to, but because at some point I will have to. It's the problem of 3D at this point, isn't it? It isn't yet infinite. Otherwise we could sit here in the eternity of this moment. That is our normal manner for experience. Just sitting in the eternity of each moment. That is also divinity. But for right now, I guess, I will have to find a cat. Or a dog. Or a horse. Or a dolphin. Or a whale. Or a turtle. To look you in the eye and find within you that moment of infinity. You are loved, you are blessed, you are wise. Always remember that. And you are each other. And you are very close to the beginning of something completely new. It's not just in those who would sit here and would listen to this that know this. It is in every human being right now. Everybody, even if they believe in these types of messages, this concept of channeling, even if they believe in this or they don't, somewhere in their reality will be the sign that things are changing greatly. That is why we have always told you not to push this information onto others, for they will find it in their own right. You are simply the ambassadors of a free energy of non-definition. Carry this proudly. Carry it boldly. And know that you and I will always carry each other. See you later, Lemuria. So it is.